Mobilizing Minds, Pathways to Young Adult Mental Health is a national project to ensure young adults get the right mental health information when they need it, in a way that leads them to make informed decisions about their well-being. They gathered information from young adults through individual, face-to-face interviews, survey research, and focus groups. They put out a research update this past summer, and I'm going to discuss their findings. They had several questions that they focused on. The first being, why would young adults consider seeking information about help for stress, anxiety, or depression? Through their research, it was found that youth seek out information for help when they are recognizing that something's wrong, feel that problems are interfering with their lives, someone in their life has expressed concern, or they have the desire to feel better. And their answers to this question make sense to me, because when I first start to notice that I'm feeling differently, that there's a problem in my life, I most likely want to investigate about it first myself. That way I can make sure that the problem is valid, so if worst case scenario, someone doesn't take what I'm saying seriously, I can reach out to someone else. Having information before reaching out helps me to recognize exactly what it is that I need. Their project also asked about what information young adults and their friends would want about help for stress, anxiety, and depression. It was found that young adults look for a description of a particular problem they're experiencing, for example, symptoms, a wide variety of information on treatment options and advantages and disadvantages of those treatment options, for example, self-help, counseling and medication treatment, local help resources, information confirming that they're not the only ones to have experienced this problem, and personal coping stories of others who have been through similar problems. Again, these answers make sense to me because looking for information on mental health is similar to looking for information on anything. For example, if I wanted to fix my broken bicycle, I would probably begin by looking up the specific problems my bike was having. Then I'd look into the different options I would have for fixing it, and why some might work better than others, like if patching a tire would help it temporarily, while buying a new tire would ensure it would last. Finally, I would look for information on where I could get a new tire. To be fair, looking for information on mental health isn't quite the same as looking for information to fix a bicycle, but it does make sense that we would use similar methods to obtain information in either of those situations. The last point that was discovered about young adults looking for information on stress, anxiety, and depression was that they want to find information telling them that they aren't alone. Hearing about personal stories, obstacles, and solutions can be very reassuring when we haven't encountered anyone with these problems before. And there are quite a few challenges in looking for mental health information online because different sites give different information on certain aspects and symptoms than others. And a lot of personal stories are easier to find than credible medical information about specific disorders. So there's a wide range of stuff online, and it takes sometimes quite a bit of searching to find what you're looking for or to find accurate information. Mobilizing Minds' next question asked where young adults would be most likely to look for information. They found that young adults would look for information online using sites like Google, Wikipedia, Health Canada, and YouTube. They'd look for it in pamphlets and self-help books, in the yellow pages, and through family and friends. The answers to this question were a bit surprising to me. I know that young adults would most likely look to the internet first for information, but in imagining my own pursuit for information, the last place I would look for information on mental health would be YouTube, though I know there's a lot of personal stories on there, but I myself might not look there. And Wikipedia is known for having errors due to the fact that anyone can edit an article. But any kind of information is helpful when you're new to a subject, however, so perhaps visiting sites like YouTube and Wikipedia would educate people enough to search for more reliable sources. I was also surprised that the results did not indicate searching for information at your local doctor's office. In asking about how young adults would like to receive information, it was discovered that young adults would like information about mental health to be available to them at all times, that information to be everywhere, and want help to be easily accessible. Information and services to be tailored to them so that they can connect to it. And I thought about this question in more detail and wondered if online material would be preferable to pamphlets or other media for privacy reasons. You can find information online, bookmark it, or erase your history if you don't want someone to see what you were looking at. There's different options. Even having a password to your computer might help you feel more secure. But the answers do seem to indicate that the internet would be the preferred method of receiving information. And due to the fact that if young adults have a computer at home, they could access information any time of the day, as opposed to, say, visiting a library, for example. Mobilizing Mind's next question asked who young adults might contact for information. The results indicated that young adults value self-reliance in coping with life problems, considering how they can handle a problem themselves, value making their own treatment decisions, want mental health information from sources such as romantic partners, close friends, and family, as well as formal sources such as a family physician or a school counselor. They also want to receive information from a trustworthy expert, but one who also understands and has perhaps seen or been through the problem that they're dealing with. After young adults do all they can to help themselves with their problem, it makes sense that they would reach out to their closest friends and family members for information. In my opinion, friends and family support is crucial in dealing with a mental health issue, and having them as informants seals that bond of support you have with them. It also makes sense that you would want to talk to someone who has dealt with your particular problem. To use the bike example again, you wouldn't ask information through someone who had never ridden a bike before. It just makes sense. The following question asked when it was best for young adults to receive this information. The participants said that it would be best to receive that information right away or before distress occurs. My own thoughts included adding to right away by saying at the time the distress is first acknowledged. So obviously beforehand would be great, but once you're actually in that moment of distress, you're going to be more open to taking in that information. The project also asked about what barriers might prevent young adults from getting the information they need. Participants said barriers would include fear and embarrassment, concern about stigma associated with having a problem, and or that it is weak to ask for help, concerns over privacy and trust issues, and physical barriers such as the cost of treatment. In my opinion, there are both pros and cons to being a young adult in the mental health system. In Ontario, a young person up to the age of 16 still has to eventually notify their parents when seeking medical help. This adds a new stressor to the concern of confidentiality. So for young adults, there's one less person to go through when it comes to dealing with that fear and embarrassment. Young adults being someone over the age of 16. One downside to being a young adult looking for mental health support is lack of money to pay for treatment. However, so supportive parents might need to be called into the picture again to help pay for it. The next question was what services would be helpful to young adults. And that young adults expressed that they would want information about the following treatments: medication-based treatments, counseling, and self-help treatments. An additional service young adults might be interested in getting information on would be inpatient treatment options. There are a lot of misconceptions about inpatient treatment and what that treatment would entail, since there are many kinds of inpatient treatments, from voluntary customized treatment to involuntary stays. I think that, information on this would be beneficial so people know what to expect if they are in that situation. The final question asked was what factors are associated with increased risk of problems with stress, anxiety, and depression. Moblizing Minds analyzed information from Statistics Canada and Health Canada, learned that problems with stress, anxiety, and depression are more common in the young adult years between 18 and 25 than at any other ages. This could be due to many changes young adults face, including completing their education, developing a work life, establishing friends and romantic relationships, and developing their own home. While they found that problems in these areas are common in all groups, they are more common in persons with high levels of stress, multiple health problems, alcohol problems, fewer friends or family that they feel close to, having a single status, like not being in a relationship or being married, having an Aboriginal background, or a female gender. And those things made sense to me. I read or heard about some of those things. Definitely how not having a good support system can really be detrimental to your mental health. But I also wondered about the prevalence of trauma within a young person's life also being a factor. Someone with PTSD or just recurring memories of something really stressful in their life definitely plays a role in bringing on extra stress, which can lead to depression. And as stated at the beginning, the results from this whole thing are only a snapshot of preliminary themes and findings from Moblizing Minds. I'm quite interested in reading the final report once it's finished, because I feel like their research is quite accurate with my own preferences as a young adult, and I think what's learned there will really be put to good use.